We're going to show you one more way to factor. Now, I know over here it says 5b. It should really say 5c. It's a little extra lesson on how to do trinomial factoring. So down below we have a trinomial, and we need to factor it. Now, the traditional way poses a little problem because that leading term of 6x squared can be obtained two different ways. 3x times 2x or 6x times x. So then if we do the continual tradition where we find numbers that multiply together to get you 6, which could be 3 and 2 or 6 and 1, we then run into some problems because we have twice as many combinations to do. Does the 3 and 2 go there? Or do the 3 and 2 go and switch spots? Not only do we have the 3 and 2 to try, but we have to try maybe the 6 and the 1. And then if that didn't fit, we'd have to switch their spots and put the 6, it won't move, but anyway, put the 6 here and the 1 there, and if none of those worked, we'd have to do it 4 more times with the same way of switching spots to finally see which one's going to work. So sometimes that just takes too long. Some people like it. They've got the patience to try. Look at that. That was 8 things possible until it worked. Maybe you got lucky and hit it right off the bat. Maybe you didn't. So let's do splitting the linear term. So splitting the linear term is going to take a little bit of trial and error to understand it first. But last year, when the kids learned it for the first time, they actually liked it. So take the time to write down these steps. First off, think of factors of a and c. Well, if you remember when we do a quadratic formula, a squared plus bx plus c, a quadratic equation, a is the coefficient of x squared, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant at the end. And the linear term means the term in the middle, because in this case, when we look at 5x, it's linear because it's raised to the first power, or one dimension, and one-dimensional means line. So 5x is a linear term, and that's what we're going to be splitting. So think of factors of a times c. So my a is 6, my c is 6. We're going to ignore the negative for now. So they want us to write all the factors of 36. So just like in traditional, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to list 1 and 36, 2 and 18, 3 and 12, 4 and 9, and 6 and 6. Now, can any of these terms that we just factors that we just listed, can they get the 5x when we add or subtract them? That's 37 or 35, gone. That's 20 or 16, gone. That's 9 or 15, gone. Hey, look, 4 and 9 is the numbers we're going to work with. Now, this is what we're going to do. We are going to rewrite this equation, 6x squared, and now we are going to split the linear term. So it's 5x, but we have 9 and 4. We're going to rewrite 5x as 9x minus 4x, and then the minus 6. You get how we split it? If we were to look at this, 9x minus 4x still gets us that 5x. We just split it. So now here comes the new part, something called factor by grouping. We're going to group the first 2 terms together and do the GCF. So that means we're going to take the 6x squared plus 9x, and we are going to look at that as one GCF. And then we're going to group the last 2 terms together. So the negative 4x minus 6. Now be careful. Even though I'm grouping them, I'm not changing them into multiplication because you see two parentheses here. I purposely wrote them apart so that you could see I was grouping them. So now I'm going to go and do the GCF here. What's common to 6 and 9? 3. What's common to x squared and x? X. And when I take out a 3x, I'm left with 2x plus 3. Now, here's the trick. When I do the GCF in the second set of parentheses here, I want to get this 2x plus 3 to show up again. So when I go to factor, I'm going to factor out a negative 2. So that way I'm left with 2x plus 3. Negative 2 times 2x is negative 4. Negative 2 times positive 3 is negative 6. So now I have a common factor again. So it's almost as if I'm doing the greatest common factor 3 times. Once in the first grouping, once in the second grouping, and once in the end. So now if I were to pull out this 2x plus 3, because it's common to both, I'm left with 3x and a minus 2. And there, I factored by splitting that middle term. It's a cool little way to do it. It helps from keeping and butting your head and trying to figure everything out. All right, so I'm going to stick with the splitting of the linear terms so we can get very good at it. Same thing right now. Think of factors of a times c. A x squared plus bx plus c. So this is our linear term that we are going to split eventually. But as of right now, I want to think of 2 times 10, which is 20. I want to list all my factors of 20. 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Can any of these get b when we add or subtract them? Well, that's 21 or 19. That's 12 or 8. Hey, it's 4 and 5. So remember, I'm going to rewrite this now. 2x squared, and I have to write it as 4x minus 5x minus 10. Because remember, I want to get b, which happens to be negative x. So when I rewrite my middle terms, they're split. 4x minus 5x gets me that negative x. All right, now we're up to the next part, which says factor by grouping. Group the first two terms together. All right, so that's 2x squared plus 4x. We're going to look at that. And then we're going to group the last terms together, negative 5x minus 10. And I wrote them purposely apart so we don't confuse them with multiplying. We're grouping and doing GCF. So what's the greatest common factor here? A 2x and an x plus 2. Now ding, 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 I want x plus 2 to show up here also. So what do I have to pull out to make that x plus 2? Well, if I pull out a negative 5, negative 5 times x is negative 5x. Negative 5 times positive 2 is negative 10. Okay, done. I'm going to do greatest common factor again, which means they both had an x plus 2 to give. And I'm left with a 2x and a minus 5. There. Factored by splitting the linear term. And again, we're going to give you one more. I'm giving you all of these to practice so that you have lots of them to look back on when you go to do your homework. And hopefully you can watch the video if you're having problems and go step by step, because this is a really cool factor and a lot of kids, like I said, liked it last year. So we got ax squared plus bx plus c. We know our linear term is negative 7x. So let's start with, again, think the factors of a and c. A is 6. C is 20. Wow, that's a big number, 120. 1 and 120. 2 and 60. 3 and 40. 4 and 30. Now, I can make my life easier as I'm listing them. I can kind of do them in my head. I've got to get stuff that are 7 away from each other. So right now, these are really far apart. So let's see. 125 and let's say 24. 6 and 20. Let's see, does 8 go into it? Let's see, 8 goes into 120. Yep, goes in 15 times. Wait, I don't have to go any further. I love this. I was looking for 7. There it is, right there. So I don't have to go on and list more factors. I found it right away. Well, not right away, but I found it. Okay. So let's go down here and let's rewrite. I have 6. All right, so I have to get a negative 7 because that's my linear term. So that would be a, let's see, plus 8x minus 15x minus 20. Now you could be asking, would I get the same answer if I chose to write 6x squared and then put minus 15x plus 8x minus 20? Well, let's do it both ways and see. All right, so now I'm going to group, and I'm going to group these two together and these two together, and let's do greatest common factor and see what happens. Between 6 and 8, the greatest common factor is 2. Between x squared and x, the greatest common factor is x. 3x plus 4. All right, so that means I'm looking for 3x plus 4 in this one. And if I factor out a minus 5, that would work. Minus 5 times 3 is negative 15. Minus 5 times 4 is negative 20. Great. Do my third greatest common factor. 3x plus 4 minus 5. All right. I'm going to group over here again, first two and last two, and do greatest common factor. So between 6 and 15, the greatest common factor is 3. And then between x squared and x, the greatest common factor is x. And then I'm left with 2x minus 5. Hey, look, there it is, the 2x minus 5. So that means I'm looking for a 2x minus 5 in the next set. And if I took out a minus 4, now I want to take out a plus 4. And beautiful, I get the same answer. The greatest common factor is 2x minus 5. And then I have 3x plus 4. So this split in the linear term thing kind of works pretty darn cool. All right, that's it.